What's up, y'all? Welcome to the very first ever Alive I Guess podcast episode. And this is your official safe space. I am so excited. I am nervous as hell, truly. This is something I never thought was going to happen. And so to finally be here today is insane. But I'm happy. I'm joyous. I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to go on this journey with you. And I hope you all are ready to go on this journey with me because we're going to go through some things. We're going to discuss some things and we're going to go some places. Good, bad. It's all part of the process. And I just hope y'all enjoy it. What you can expect to hear on the podcast is just me discussing my different life experiences, some of the different things that I've gone through, whether that be trauma, love, going broke, financial insecurities, family issues, all the different things that just kind of help make up who I am and honestly just give me context and color in my life. And so a lot of the things are going to be things that people don't really like to discuss because, nobody really wants to put their business out there or talk about the bad parts of life because we've been conditioned to only show the good parts, but not me. I learned there's a lot of power when you give a voice to things, when you share your experiences with people, when you have community around things. And so I wanted to create the thing that I needed for myself, which is a safe space and an environment where people can just relate to what you're going through or find this sense of community, just have a listening ear or hear the things that you're going through in a space that just feels welcoming to you. So some of the things you can expect to hear are going to be good. Some might be a little difficult, but they're all true and they're all my experiences. Yeah, I don't have a problem sharing them. But before we get into today's episode, make sure y'all are following at Alive Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, Threads. And if you're on YouTube watching this, make sure you go ahead and like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date with some of the new episodes that come out and you don't miss anything. If you have any inquiries, questions, comments, feedback, you can email me at aliveiguesspodcast@gmail.com. Now, before we touch on the topic, I just want to get into the practice of starting off every episode with just a moment of gratitude. Something I did back in 2022, I wrote on sticky notes every day for a full last year. It was great, but like very tedious. Something that I was grateful for. And these were things that were either true, weren't true, had come to fruition, but I was just trying to give something that I was grateful for at least once a day. And it really helped me feel better and just like manifest things in my life. And so that's something that I've carried with me ever since then. So today, I am grateful for finally being able to record this first episode. It's been a long time coming. And yeah, I'm just really happy that we're finally here. It's something that I honestly didn't see happening at one point, but through different trials and tribulations and persevering, we finally made it. And I am very grateful. Very, very grateful. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about who I am for those of you who don't know me and give some context as to how AIGP came about, what you can expect, and, just all that good stuff. So, I'm RJ. I am a queer, non binary, married individual. I have had different experiences in my life through different identity, so to speak. Not necessarily like I've gone through all these different identities, but like I've been an athlete. I haven't always identified as non-binary, and so I've had experiences as a Black woman, just being queer, being a sibling, a sister. I have all brothers, and just being the only girl, talking about that upbringing and just the things that go into that. I have been like a first generation college graduate out of my siblings and my parents. And so that comes with its own thing. I was like the golden child growing up, and that was a whole thing. So there's a lot of different elements that kind of make me up. One thing for sure is I've always been extremely shy, extremely. And like public speaking, standing up in front of the classroom, reading, none of that, like all that shit terrified me. So the fact that I'm doing this is crazy. Never saw this happening for myself, honestly. I don't know. I thought I was going to grow up and do something in basketball. When I was younger, I wanted to be an architect until I went to school and found out they don't really make no money. Or if you do, you have to be like a white cisgendered man, which obviously that don't work. But one day I was in a group setting, and we were having a discussion. And this woman, she's like, RJ, I could listen to you talk all day. And like the whole group is like, yeah. And I'm just like, what what you mean? You know, like I don't understand. She's like, you have a voice for the radio. Have you ever considered doing a podcast? This is back in 2018, 2019. So like podcasting is really kind of like foreign to me at this point. I'm listening to a couple of podcasts here and there, but like I'm not really tapped in like that. So I'm like, maybe like it's something I just kind of kept in the back of my mind. And then I considered actually doing it, and then 2020 hit, and we all know what happened there. Of course, the whole podcast boom happened, and everybody started a podcast, even people who should not. But they did, and at that point I was like, no, there's no room. Like there's really no point in even like trying. Like there's no space for me. There's too many out there. Like no one's gonna listen. No one's even gonna find me. All the things you tell yourself, just like psych yourself out. And so I let it go. And then kind of as the years went on and I saw all these people excelling in their respective area, whether that be podcasting or TikTok or just people who started at the same time I had this idea to start, and to see where they went within that amount of time, I'm like, damn, I should have just went for it. But now it's really too late. You know what I'm saying? So like I really didn't go for it at that point. And so, I did the things. I kept on working in corporate, and that was fucking depressing. Throughout the years, I also hit a few patches of depression. I got sober since 2020 to current date. I'm almost 6 years. And I was just dealing with a bunch of things that obviously took priority over starting my own podcast. So I just put it out of sight, out of mind. Like I wasn't even thinking about it at that point. Until about maybe like 2 years ago, when I'm seeing people on their podcasting journey, and I start following a couple podcasters, and I'm like, damn, it's really great to see them like going through their process and hearing their journey and kind of growing along with them, and feeling like I wish I would have did it, but still not 100% confident that I could. And shout out to my wife. She's like the biggest supporter in the world of me. And she's like, you should start your podcast. You should do your podcast. And she just continuously reminded me and encouraged me to start this podcast for the last probably 3 years. But I'm working, I'm making good money, I'm doing the things. I'm like, yeah, it sounds good. But like at the perfect time, which we all know, perfect time don't exist. You just got to go for that shit. So, I'm doing things, I'm working, I'm fighting depression at different points, I'm dealing with family situations, just all these different aspects of life and adulting, and I'm deprioritizing myself. And so I had to learn to start to even consider doing things for myself before I even thought of pursuing anything like a passion project or anything. And so this past year, or about the last year or so, I was at a company for a few years, decided I wanted to leave, just politics, it was time to go. Got offered to work at this other company. Setup was great. So I jumped ship, went over to this company, said it was going to be one thing. And after a few months, for no other reason other than racism, call it what it is, I was let go. And this was in March of this year. And I don't know if y'all know, but this job economy, this job market is on some straight bullshit. It is damn near impossible to find a job. And so from March to this point, I haven't had a job. And I started going to the gym, getting my fitness together, because that has been something I've been struggling with for shit 9 years, a while. But I finally got that together, and I've just kind of instilled this new belief and desire in myself to want more and to go for things that I never thought were possible for myself before, or that I told myself I couldn't have or couldn't do. And so I started to entertain the idea of starting this podcast again. And I'm like, well, shit, I got time now. Like, I could, let me look into it. Let me see, like, what really goes into it. And I started doing my research, and I'm like, I think I can do this. Like, if I put my mind to it and I just take my time with it, because the perfectionist in me and the athlete in me is like, we got to beat this deadline and we got to do it quick and efficient. But it's like, there's no rush. Like, it's on my time and when I want. And that's something I'm trying to unlearn for myself. And so I was like, I think I'm going to go for it. And talked to my wife about it. And of course, she was excited and was like, you can for sure do this. And so it's been probably like 4 or 5 months at this point of me just like learning and building and understanding the business of podcasting and building a brand. And I never got a TikTok over the pandemic, never had one. Similar to the Tumblr days, I know myself. If I would have got a TikTok, I would be on that shit all day. So I never got one. Had to make one for this. I don't know shit about no TikTok. So like having to learn that. I don't put myself on social media. Like I'll post, but like I'm not talking in front of the camera. So I'm like, damn, I gotta unlearn that. As I'm learning things, other things are coming up. Like I'm understanding more about myself, and it's turning into this greater project and learning opportunity that I didn't foresee by starting this podcast, and just like understanding even before I knew what concept I was going to go with. As I'm learning these things and trying to figure out what it is that I do want to talk about, I knew I wanted to discuss aspects about myself, but I'm like, which direction am I going to go? I just started to like really get into like who I am and what do I deal with. And a lot of what I deal with is just trying to survive being an adult in this day and age, mental health, and all the other aspects of life. And so I'm like, I need to incorporate that into this podcast and what I want to talk about. And so from there, I started thinking of names. Now, the first name I had, I was like, that's cool, but like, it's not really catchy. And so I started thinking, okay, like what is something that I typically say, like when people check in with me, or like something that kind of comes up. And one thing that kind of stuck out to me is people be checking in, text me, call me, see me, and they're like, RJ, how you doing? And literally like I'd be like, alive, I guess. Like on some real shit. Like I'm here, I guess. So I'm like, that's it. That's going to be the name of it, because that just incorporates everything that we're going to be discussing, all the parts and all the madness of adulting, of life, of learning and unlearning, of waking up and showing up and doing the things and participating and trying even when you don't want to, even when you don't have the energy to, like that thing that keeps you going, the quiet parts that you go through when no one's looking, or the things that people don't expect you to go through because they have this idea of who they think you are. And we gonna get into it all, because that's just what I committed to and what I think is important to discuss. And so we gonna get into some shit. So I hope y'all ready. Cause I am. And if you are not aware, if this is your first time being introduced to me, I can be blunt. I'm gonna say things how it is, because that's how I prefer to be talked to. I'm not one to sugarcoat, because it's a lie, and I'm not one to lie. Like even my friends and family in my personal life know if you come to me, you're going to get the truth. And I might tell a joke, but I'll never tell a lie. So that's what you can expect to hear on the Alive, I Guess podcast. One thing that was important to me when I finally decided that I wanted to make this podcast was really creating a safe space for people. Of course, this is virtual, but especially in this tech era that we're in, a lot of the spaces and places and people that we interact with are in a virtual standpoint. And so people are going even to therapy, to their doctor's appointments, to financial advisors in virtual spaces. And so it's very possible to create a safe space in a virtual sense. And so I really wanted to make sure that I was able to do so with this podcast because I want this to be something that people turn to when they just need to feel like they're not alone, when they need to hear the things that they're going through said by someone else, so that it's like, wow, I thought it was just me. It's really great to know that I'm not crazy and this isn't something that's just mutually exclusive to myself. I want this to feel like if you were sitting in the room with me and we chilling, talking, vibing, getting that shit off our chest. Like I really want this to be something that is comforting to folks, which is why I say this is a safe space, because this truly is a safe space. Some things you might not agree with, some things might not be relevant to you. The only person I really expect everything I say to be relevant to is me, because they're my experiences. Take what you want and leave the rest. Take what's relevant and leave what isn't. I just want to reiterate that these are my experiences, these are my opinions, these aren't facts, they are related to me. And so I will be discussing them through that lens of them being my experiences. So if you find yourself not in agreement with what I say, that's okay. You don't have to agree with me all the time. I hope you don't. I hope there are things that make you think, that challenge your thought processes and make you question certain things, because that's how we learn, that's how we grow. And even for myself, like if I get feedback about something or questions about something or suggestions about something, like I'm open. Now, the ignorant shit, like no, we're not doing that. But when it's a thoughtful conversation, I'm all for it. Like I know I'm not perfect at all. So I encourage you to listen to that with that sort of mindset going in. Also, well, I'll touch on this a little bit later, but for the most part, I am not advising. This is not advice. I'm simply sharing experiences. So everything that I say should not be taken as law. Like, I'm not saying you go out there and do the same things or make the same decisions that I made, because I made some dumbass decisions in my day. I regret nothing. Yeah, I regret nothing because it all got me to here, Like I try not to live with any regret, because one difference could have changed things and we don't know how that could have went. So the good, the bad, it made me who I am today. The things that happen from this point on will make me who I am later on. That's just what it is. But I'm not here to tell you you should do it this way unless you ask, which we have a segment for. And I will get into that in just a second. Because this is episode 1, I just want to give you the rundown of what you can expect on a episode basis. So, first of all, we got to do some gratitude. We got to set the tone, get the space right. I'm just setting the space up for ourselves and for myself before we jump into what we got to jump into. Because some shit going to be heavy and you got to bring a little light if you're going into a dark space. So, gratitude, that's one. Then we're going to jump into the topic. And the topics will vary. We will know what those topics are at the beginning of the episode, so you kind of know what you're getting into before we dive in. But we're going to spend a lot of time talking about the topic of the day, naturally. And then at the end, we're going to have a segment called I Say This With Love. Now, I say this with love. I came up with the segment because in my personal life, a lot of my friends come to me for advice or this is a situation, this is what I'm dealing with. Sometimes they ask for advice, sometimes they just need an open ear to bounce things off of. But most of the time, if they're coming to me, they know I got some advice, warranted advice. So they ask. I don't just offer unsolicited advice. And that's the same practice I want to do here. So I Say This With Love is a segment where I will be offering advice to people who write in. If you would like to have your situation read on the podcast, you would email me at aliveiguesspodcast@gmail.com. I will read your submission and I will give my advice. Your personal information will not be shared. Any identifiers, I'll leave those things out in case your business is listening. I know how to play the game. But I'm going to give you advice, and I'm going to give you advice as if you was the homie. Because if you're coming to me for that, I'm going to give it to you. And I'll say it with love, but it's going to be real, at least in my perspective. You could take it or leave it, but that's kind of what you could expect. Now, when can we expect episodes? Alive, I Guess podcast will be dropping every Thursday. Don't really know a time yet. Still figuring it out. I don't know how the whole podcast thing goes when it comes to dropping. We gonna learn together. So Thursdays will be the days you can expect new episodes. If that changes for some unforeseen reason, I will be sure to let y'all know. But right now, expect an episode every Thursday. You can watch it on YouTube. You can listen to it anywhere that you get your podcasts. Catch me on Instagram with some clips, TikTok. I'm going to put it everywhere so you can see it wherever you need to. I'll even put it on Patreon. Speaking of Patreon, in the future, let me get the ball rolling. But in the future, I will be doing Patreon exclusive episodes for my followers on Patreon, which I have dubbed the homies. Now, if you want to join the homies, there is a small subscription fee. And if it sounds good, then join it. And if not, keep it pushing. I really just want this to be a place that feels good to you and you interact with it however you see fit. And so if you want to do all the things, follow on Patreon, TikTok, Instagram, that is fantastic. But regardless, I appreciate y'all going on this journey with me. I'm so excited to finally be going on this journey with you all, to be going on this journey with myself, for myself. I hope in a year, 5 years, 10 years, we can look at this video and be like, wow, RJ has come quite a long way from that first video. Because as great as I think this is, I know where I'm headed, and we're going to the top. And if you're down to ride with me, then follow along. As a reminder, you can follow at Alive I Guess Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, Threads. Find us on YouTube. It is Alive I Guess Podcast on there. Follow us anywhere that you listen to your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, wherever that is. If you have any inquiries or you'd like to have any submissions for I Say This With Love, email us at alive I guess podcast at gmail.com. That's it for episode 1. Let me know via Instagram or whatever if y'all vibing with it. I'm just really grateful to finally be here and finally get this ball rolling. As always, I'm RJ. This has been Alive I Guess Podcast, and I'll see y'all same time next week. I'm alive.